Okay, so this is my uh, day 4 notes from the trial. And kind of my wrap-up impression of the first week. So I have here Catherine James was the first witness today. This was a pre-recorded witness. She is the former assistant to Amber Heard. This gal definitely painted a picture of an Amber with attitude. And she was also not intimidated by Amber Heard's attorney. She seemed quite irritated by his questions. I actually kind of liked her. She did give, in my opinion, some very damaging testimony about Amber. I'm a little fearful that Amber Heard's attorneys will make it out to be a bitter ex-employee. I mean, they did try sort of to do that, but they were unsuccessful. I know several things that she said got a few laughs out of me. And the look on Johnny Depp's face while she was talking about him playing with her son and how he cherished a guitar pick to this day that he gave him. The look on his face was so precious. And you could tell Johnny just had a smile on his face, and you can tell that he was remembering some good times. And then I noticed he let out a deep sigh, and the smile was gone. And perhaps it was a bit of sadness, perhaps relief. Eventually, we all exhale, don't we? But she was a character for sure. And she spoke about Amber Heard spitting in her face. And there was actually another witness to that as well. But overall, Catherine James, I think she did some damage to Amber Heard. She definitely painted a picture of an Amber that is quite the opposite of what Amber tries to portray to the world. And I don't need to recap the whole thing because you watched it, right? If you didn't, it's available online. I don't want to make this a recounting of everything that everybody probably already saw. This is just like a wrap up of my opinion of how I think the trial is going so far. Next up, there was Laura Anderson. She is a psychotherapist that did couples counseling with Johnny and Amber. I kind of hung on every word that she said. It was really interesting though. This woman literally looks like Lily Tomlin, and she kind of sounded like her too. There were several people in the chat that I was on Law and Crime, where I watched the trial, that made mention of that. Excuse me. She stated, I'm reading my notes here, she stated that Johnny could not, during their sessions, Johnny could not keep up with Amber's, and I quote, rapid fire way of talking, and it seemed to overwhelm him. Like he couldn't get a word in, because really of how controlling Amber was of the conversation. She believed that Johnny was triggered by Amber. And I mean, we knew from listening to the recordings of them that Amber does have a way of talking over him and talking in circles and talking around him where he can't really talk. But even she said that when Johnny is able, allowed really, to speak, he's very intelligent and speaks very clearly. But when Amber is around, she talks over him. She's pretty much a bully in a conversation and treats him. She does. It sounds like she does actually treat him like a child. I always wondered before why, there's been so many audio recordings that we've listened to of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and I always wondered why did somebody record their conversations? Now we know why. I mean, it was for the therapy. So and the therapist said some things that brought some things to light that, I mean, we knew it was bad, but I had no idea how bad it really was. And Amber claimed to hit Johnny to save her pride. And then she would blame her father for her actions. This is typical narcissistic behavior. The therapist said that she was sensitive to feeling disrespected. My translation, her narcissistic ego got bruised. And that would cause her to react physically towards Johnny Depp. She would smack him because she couldn't stand to be, in her view, disrespected. Hi guys, I'm sorry that it's a bit dark, but I wanted to get this recording done, and I'm trying to be a bit quiet because the kids are taking their nap. But I wanted to get this recording done before the lunch break is over. In Fairfax, this is day 4 of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. I have to say, this morning's testimonies were hard to listen to and revealing. I knew Amber Heard was a narcissist, but I had no idea just how bad she really was, Listening to the therapist give her professional accounts. I was watching them in the courtroom, and Amber all week has just had the same, my S-H-I-T, don't stink look on her face, and just that same, just that, it's that narcissistic. And Johnny Depp, you can tell that he is, as he listens to the testimonies, he's reliving in memory these events, and you can see the pain, you can see the hurt. Sometimes they're happy memories. He wears his emotions in his eyes and on his face, as most humans do. A narcissist can't do that. That's why you don't see that on Amber's face. Hearing how she would attack him and smack him because it made her feel strong and in control. because it hurt her pride for her ego to be disrespected. It was her ego. It's all about narcissistic ego. I've literally written a book on narcissism based on my own experience and experience with therapy for it, as also Johnny Depp and I went through the same narcissistic abuse, coincidentally enough, in the same years. And mine ended in May of 2016 as well. So he and I are at the same phase. We're at the same the same, as far as timeline goes, the same place of healing, except I have not had to deal with my narcissist every day for the last 6 years. I've not had to hear his name, see his face. And once this trial is over, he can finally stop hearing her name every day and seeing her face all over the place and find true healing. I gotta tell you, I'm listening to this. That's why I jumped on here. I'm listening to this therapist and I'm getting mad. And I'm like so glad that I'm not sitting in that courtroom right now, because I'd have to get up and walk out. Because I would probably take all that I had to not go up there and smack her. Or at least say something. Expressed my anger on Twitter. I had resolved to kind of just listen today and not react. But speaking of reacting, the therapist even said that, Amber Heard would instigate because of her pride. For God's sake, she smacked him when he was strung out because his mother had just died. The narcissist in her could not stand the fact that something else was taking his attention, and he wasn't allowed to deal with his own emotional needs at the time. She smacks him. After my dad died, I literally drank more than I've ever drank in my life. Surprisingly, I didn't throw up, but I thought I was going to. The room spun for like 24 hours, and I felt nauseous all the next day. But I drank a lot too. The pain and the hurt, and you're just trying to escape it. And that's probably, I'm sure that's what he was doing. And she smacks him? God. God. Today's is definitely taking a lot of emotional. But it doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter how it's making me feel. I can see on Johnny's face how it's making him feel. And I've seen people commenting on how he's looking tired and sleepy. I do want to say again, this makes me concerned because of the visions that I've had about him during this trial. And, but I also know that him being mentally and emotionally drained is going to make him physically tired. It's going to take a lot out of him. Would anybody? So I do hope that he's taking care of his health during this trial. The narcissist will do things. And please understand this. I've seen people saying they were violent towards each other, but hear me. The narcissist will do things to cause you to react so that you look crazy, so that you look like the violent one. They're very good at that. They know how to push buttons that no one else can. Which is why, you know, I mean, she brought out the worst in him, obviously. So whatever he was with her, she created it. If there was a quote-unquote monster, she made it. Because no one ever had these things to say about him before her. I'm going to end this video now. I know the video that you're watching, this within a video is probably kind of long. But I wanted to save and say everything at the end of the week. But this one I kind of wanted to go ahead and get up real quick. So that this snippet, this part, is going to be also part of another video that I put up at the end of the week. I'm going to get this done so I can upload it real quick. Nothing fancy, no fancy editing or anything. And then get back into the trial when they come back after lunch. The kids will still be napping for a little while. We're with you, Johnny. We're with you. And my heart breaks hearing this stuff, and I'm so sorry that things sound like they were so much worse than any of us ever really knew. God bless. Okay, then we had Gina Duders. I think that's how you say her last name. She's a freelance creator. She's very good friends with Johnny Depp. Her husband was on Johnny Depp's staff. She testified that his drug use wasn't a constant thing, that his demeanor never changed when he did. She described Amber as being controlling and treating JD like a child. But the thing about this is that they ended up striking her entire testimony and dismissing her because for some reason Amber's attorneys, I mean, all of a sudden everybody was at the bench. There was a sidebar. I mean, people, you could see people were just, they were scrambling and they were huddled together, and for seemed like a while, and then the judge came back and asked her if she had been watching the trial, watching any previous witness testimony, and she said yes, she had seen clips, and so the judge dismissed her immediately. I remember when Miss Gina was talking about the makeup. I remember the camera had cut over to Amber Heard after that, and Amber was jotting something down, and she turned around and handed it to one of her attorneys, and it was shortly after that they called the sidebar. And I'm just sitting here wondering, you know, I've been wondering all afternoon, what made them think to ask if Gina had been watching any of the trial? I mean, what made them ask that of her? Anyways, Miss Jean is a lovely woman. We all love her on the Discord channel. We love it when she pops in to say hi to us, you know, and or to, you know, just be there. And she's an absolutely lovely, beautiful woman. And we're sorry that she was dismissed. And Um, she was such a brave soul for even getting up there. Poor thing was nervous, and um, but we love her. We love her no matter what. And then Dr. Kipper was next, and I don't know what to say about this guy, honestly. One minute I'm thinking he's helping JD's case, and the next minute I'm like, ugh, I didn't like that, something that he would say. But one thing I did take away from it, and one thing that I do hope the jury takes away from it, is that he did state that Johnny was he was adamant about wanting to get off of the drugs that he was addicted to, the prescription drugs. And something that I hope people remember, and the jury remembers, is that when you are detoxing from alcohol, drugs, you're going to have a change in behavior, So it's almost like for him, I believe it was probably like a catch-22. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. He was being accused of doing drugs, and then he was being accused of having a bad attitude when he was trying to detox from them. And then Dr. Kipper didn't sound like he was very much help getting him off of them. To me, it sounded like Johnny was reaching out for help. And I don't think this Dr. Kipper did him any favors at all. That's just my opinion. Some of the conversation that was going on, I'm gonna see if I can pull those up now. I enjoy watching it on the lawandcrime.com site, because there's a site place for chat, and these people are like they're like courtroom fanatics. This is trial fanatics. This is what they do. So there's one chat, but people are watching more than one trial. I'm just watching Johnny Depp's and Amber Heard's. And you're looking at the chat, and there's some people in there who are, pro Johnny Depp, and there's some people who are pro Amber Heard, and then there's an amazing number of people who have no clue what's going on. And this is the first time they're hearing about any of this. So you're getting some very honest opinions. And I like to watch what they're saying, because it kind of gives me an idea of what the jury might be thinking, So this one person, of course I'm blocking their names, says Mr. Depp got his career ruined by these allegations. It's a he said, she said. I think he is trying to show the world that he didn't do these things in order to revive his image. And then another conversation said, Mr. Depp ruined his own career. He can't blame anyone for that. And then another one, and the one that said this next statement is actually an attorney. And they said, I look at JD as a longtime actor who does alcohol, pills, and drugs, and you take what you get. This doesn't have any bearing on my take on him whatsoever. And then another comment, wow, Amber is so stupid that she told the doctor she was going to use the cops against JD to gain an advantage. She's talking about the therapist there. And then I commented, also, just AH admitting to and bragging about her negative actions toward JD to this therapist is a narcissistic ego thing, and she probably thought that no one would ever hear it. Yeah, Amber Heard would tell their therapist things that she probably thought was confidential, and didn't think the world would ever hear it. So my overall take about this first week, exhausting for one. I can't imagine sitting in that courtroom. I know I've said that before. I do have some concern about Johnny Depp. In the afternoons, he looks very tired. When they come back from lunch, he looks very tired. I've seen people say that he even looks sleepy. Some people are saying in the chat that he's falling asleep, that it looks like he's falling asleep. I personally, I'm not sure. I didn't see that today. Today, he looked better to me in the afternoon. He looked like he was taking notes. He was reading. He seemed very alert the entire day. I did see some Starbucks in his hand. So God bless the person that gave him Starbucks. But one of the things that, I watched him go through, he wears his emotions on his face, and you watch him go through these emotions while Amber's face just kind of looks bitchified. A constant bitch resting face. Just that narcissistic, emotionless void. Overall, I hope that Johnny Depp gets a lot of rest this weekend. And that he's taking care of himself through all this. And I don't think this first week went tipped in either one's favor. If it did, I'd have to say it tipped towards Johnny's favor with the therapist's testimony. And with Catherine James's testimony. It was well done. They really painted a picture of Amber that is just wasn't pleasant. We knew that JD was going through something, that he went through something, but the dirty laundry is really coming out, you know what I mean? And it's almost, I catch myself listening to some of this, and I catch myself lowering my head, taking off my headphones, feeling like I should walk away, because you feel like you're eavesdropping on something you shouldn't be hearing. We all have a private life, behind closed doors. I guess you really don't know what people are like behind closed doors. Look at me. I seem like I'm meek and innocent and all. And no one would ever have guessed that in a former life I was in the BDSM community. in that lifestyle for a few years. No one would look at me and know that. But you're not allowed to treat other people like they don't matter. You're not allowed to treat, especially someone that you're supposed to love, you're not allowed to treat them like a child. You're not, Johnny Depp's personality changed after he met her in much the same way that mine changed after my narcissistic experience. My best friend noticed that she actually came out and said I was different. And after that, it does change you, and it takes a lot of work to find yourself again. And he hasn't really truly been allowed to do that work. He's moved on with his career and stuff, but her name is constantly mentioned. Her picture's there. He's constantly having to deal with this. And once this is over, he can put it behind him and then truly do the work on himself to detox his brain from her. It is a physical detoxing for real. And I'll get into that in another video. But until she's out of his life for good, that's not going to happen. And he can't ever truly get back to being fully himself until then. But stay tuned. I don't know what I'm going to be up to over the Easter weekend. Maybe I'll do a video over the weekend. We'll see. If I don't, happy Easter. God bless.